welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be eating some breakfast and telling you about Dying for Christmas by Tammy Cohen. And this is the book I'm going to be reading for the I'll Sleep When I'm Dead book club hosted by Jessie, my friend from Reading with Jess here on YouTube. So excited about this, and I didn't put this in my TBR video because I did want to make this separate little video for you guys just to promo the book, make sure you're going to be reading it with us, and also just to give you a taste of what this book has in store for us. So I'm going to eat my breakfast. I made just like a bagel sandwich. It's egg, like 2 eggs over hard with salt and pepper, onions, mozzarella cheese, and a plain bagel. And I want to go ahead and talk to you about this book. We're going to read the synopsis. I'm going to start reading the book to you, and I will have all the details linked in the description box for you about the live show that we're going to have in December, all of the dates, information about the book club, all of the things in the description box for you guys. And I just thought this would be a fun way to start my morning and share my excitement about this book club pick that Jess and I chose. Now it does have an alternate cover, but this is the cover that I like. So I'm gonna go ahead and just read you the absolute full synopsis inside the flap here. We'll start with that, but first let's try this sandwich. It's delicious, so I'm definitely going to be taking bites in between. Okay, full synopsis. A novel full of twists and surprising turns, Dying for Christmas is Tammy Cohen's most disturbing psychological thriller yet. Out Christmas shopping one December afternoon, Jessica Gould meets a charming Dominic Lacey and impulsively agrees to go home with him for a drink. What follows is 12 Days of Christmas from hell as Lacey holds Jessica captive, forcing her to wear his missing wife's gowns and eat lavish holiday meals. Each day he gifts her with one item from his twisted past: his dead sister's favorite toy, disturbing family photos, a box of teeth. As the days pass and the gifts become darker and darker, Jessica realizes that Lacey has a plan for her and he never intends to let her go. But Jessica has a secret of her own, a secret that may just mean she has a chance to make it out alive. And then we have a blurb here by author Mark Edwards, author of The Magpies, and he says, a deliciously dark winter's tale that delivers twist after twist as it races towards a shocking conclusion, the perfect thriller to curl up with this Christmas. That's what I'm hoping for. So there is the synopsis. Let's eat a little bit more of our breakfast, and then I'm going to start reading you the first chapter. By the time you finish reading this, I'll already be dead. 3 interesting things about me. Well, I'm 29 years old. I'm phobic about buttons. Oh yes, and I'm dying. Not as in I've got 2 years to live, but hey, here's a list of things I want to cram into the time I have left. No, I'm dying right here, right now. In a sense, you're reading a snuff book. So why did I go along with it? That's a tricky one. That question of motivation. Maybe it's because I was caught up in the Christmas spirit and feeling kind of disposed. He told me I was beautiful. Also, it didn't hurt that he was handsome. He looked a bit like that guy from Silver Linings Playbook, the one who always plays nut jobs. Maybe that should have given me a bit of a clue. Oh well, you live and you learn. Except in my case, only one of those is true. I was in the cafe of a department store on Oxford Street. I'd been Christmas shopping for 4 hours by then. Normally, I avoided in-store cafes, so claustrophobic, and always someone with a buggy blocking the way and someone else in the world's biggest wheelchair. But it was sleeting outside and I had all of these bags. I managed to find a table which, considering it was Christmas Eve, was no mean feat. I set my cappuccino down and tried to fit all of my bags around me. One had to go on the table itself. It contained a toy I bought for one of my nephews. When I placed it on the table, it lowed like a cow. By that point, I was well into that stage of Christmas shopping where you look at your purchases and know beyond any doubt that not one of them is right and the only solution is to buy more. So I was already feeling harassed when he approached. "Can I sit here?" I shrugged without looking up. "Sorry, it's just so packed in here. It seems like you'd have to sell a kidney or something to get a table." Then I did lit up. First impressions, blue eyes. Slightly too close together, but that was almost a relief because without his face would have been so film star perfect, no one could have ever taken him seriously. Strong, straight nose, brown wavy hair swept back from his face, dimple in one cheek near the mouth, chin slightly cleft, just so it lent that edge of masculinity. Men who look like that don't exist in my life, not in 3D form anyway. I stared down at my cappuccino like it might be trying to tell me something and wish I'd bought a book. His presence across the tiny table was an elephant sitting on my chest. "You've been Christmas shopping, I see." "No shit, Sherlock," except I didn't actually say that. What I actually said was, "Yeah, well, I put it off as long as I could." And that's when he said it. "You know, you're very beautiful." Like I said, hand, meat putty. There was an awkward silence. I took a sip of cappuccino and then couldn't swallow it in case the noise deafened us both. "I'm sorry if I keep staring at you," he said, and my eyes flicked up to meet his boring right into me. "It's just you remind me of someone." I focused on him, forcing myself to hold his gaze by pressing my nails into the palm of my left hand under the table. It's a distraction technique. It distracted me from thinking about the awkwardness of this whole situation and the fact that as someone technically in a relationship, I shouldn't really have been encouraging this conversation or noticing the color of his eyes. "Really?" I said. "I hardly ever remind people of other people, although someone did once say I looked like Daisy, the kitchen maid in Downton Abbey. But I think that was because I was wearing an apron at the time and he thought it was funny." Breakfast is over. The book is not. All right. I ramble when I'm nervous. He smiled and the dimple on his cheek was like a cave inviting me in. "You remind me of my wife," he said, and he stirred the spoon around in his glass mug in front of him, releasing clouds of something green and herbal in the clear water. "Actually, I haven't seen her in months, so she's probably my soon-to-be ex-wife. She looks just like you. In fact, when I saw you earlier walking along Oxford Street, I thought for a mad moment you really were her. That's why I followed you." All right, that's red flag number 1. Run! Run! "You followed me into the shop?" He was beaming as if he had done something clever. "Through the glove and scarf department and toys and..." My face suddenly blazed, recalling my prolonged foray into lingerie. "Yep," he agreed. "It was just so uncanny, you see, and then you came in here and sat down and I thought, here's my chance." Oh, this is so creepy already! He's stalking her. He's following her. That's so creepy. I nodded calmly as though strange men were forever following me into department stores off the street. "I hope you don't mind. I'm not some crazed axe murderer, I promise." Lies. If there was a noise then, like a snort in my ear, I instantly blocked it out. "You look like you're shopping for an army," he indicated the bags all around my feet. "Oh, just family," I said, conveniently leaving out Travis. Not that my family is particularly good at presents. Last Christmas, my parents bought me 6 lessons with a therapist. My mother had even mocked up a proper gift voucher on the computer. This voucher entitles the bearer to 6 sessions with Sonia Rubinstein. It was tucked inside a card that had a glitter snow globe on the front with the tiny children throwing snowballs trapped inside. "It's not that we think there's something wrong with you," Mom said, scanning my face anxiously as I examined the voucher. "We just want you to be the best that you can be." "But what if this is the best me?" My dad laughed then as if I'd made a joke. "Then God help us," he said. I told myself I wouldn't go on principle, but of course I did. And when the 6 sessions were up, I booked 6 more and more after that. What? Turn down the chance to talk about myself for 45 minutes a week? I'd have to be nuts. The stranger across the table was saying something. "How about you?" he repeated. "Any significant others?" Travis's face came into my head and again I blotted him out. More like a few insignificant ones. Come on, don't tell me Someone as lovely as you had no one special. There must be someone, surely. Someone to buy Christmas presents for that don't come in a last-minute job lot from John Lewis. I thought about Travis and how in our first year together, he bought me a $5.99 bottle of 𝒍𝒊𝒏𝒌𝒔 on his way over on Christmas Day and given it to me wrapped in a corner shop plastic bag with the price sticker still on. I know you don't really approve of Christmas, he said, and I hid in the cashmere jumper I'd bought him behind the sofa. No, I lied to the stranger, no one special. One of the bags by my feet was another stocking filler I'd bought for my 13-year-old niece, Grace. A little figure that expands on water. Grow your own boyfriend, said the packaging. Well, that little figure could have been me, except for I was grown your own victim, handmade for him. I might as well have been gift wrapped with a bow. The man with the blue eyes gazed at me across the table and then stuck out his hand, his left hand. I noticed the gold band on the fourth finger and wondered why he still wore it. Amazing the things we find hard to let go of, he said, and I was mortified he noticed that I'd noticed. I'm Dominic. His fingers closed around mine. Dominic Lacey. Now there was a sound in my ear like someone breathing or an insect swinging, buzzing. My fingers burned where they touched him. Jessica Gold. Gold. That's nice. It suits you. I should have asked him why. There's nothing golden about me. I usually have lots of dark hair, not quite black, but very dark brown, and I already found a few threads of gray nestling in there like cuckoos in the nest, pretending to be like the others, but not like the others at all. My skin is sallow, especially in winter, and when I'm tired, fat purple shadows under my eyes. Talk me through the presents, he said. Who's the walk for? How did you know? Oh yes, you followed me. The walk's for my brother James. He likes to think of himself as a serious chef. He makes complicated dishes for his kids and then gets offended when they only want to eat cheese sandwiches. What about you, Jessica? Are you an adventurous eater? I hesitated. Should I tell him that I only really eat bland beige foods, cheese, potatoes, white bread, Cheerios, pasta, digestive biscuits? Should I tell him how Sonia Robenstein's eyes had brightened when she found out and how she'd scribbled frantically on her notepad with a big black pen? Instead, I shrugged. Not particularly. And is James your only sibling? He's the oldest. There's Jonathan too, my middle brother. My parents has a thing about J's. They wanted a matching set, you see, my parents. They wanted a triple deck of bright, outgoing, confident J-named kids. Instead, they got 2 of those, and then me. An anomaly in the family, an outlier. Both got children? He looked pointedly at the bag of toys. Yep, James has 2 and Jonathan has 1. It's good, it means the pressure's off me. Unbidden, there's a memory of Travis and I staring down at a white plastic stick with a blue line creeping across a small rectangular window. I remembered the sudden treacherous flowering of hope that died practically as it was born when Travis said, oh shit, and then later, thank God backstreet abortions are a thing of the past. Sometimes if I let my guard down, I can hear a baby crying. I'm guessing you've got a job, he said, to pay for this lot. I work for a TV company, I said. I'm an archivist. I catalog old documents and recordings. I store dead things. And what about you, I asked, remembering belatedly the basic rules of social interaction. I buy and sell liquidated stock. If a company goes bankrupt, I buy up their stock and sell it on before I've cleared it out, so I don't have to pay storage. Sounds interesting, I said. It sounded a little grubby, making a profit out of other people's despair. I give them a fair price, he said, as if my thoughts were flashing across my forehead in neon lights. And if I didn't do it, someone else would. Is it lucrative? I do all right. I'm comfortable, as they say. I wished I was comfortable. I was too hot in the overheated cafe. I wish I washed my hair that morning or worn some makeup or smarter clothes. The temperature had just dropped below 0 for the first time this winter, and consequently I was hopelessly overdressed. Beneath my thick cable knit jumper, I was wearing a long sleeve t-shirt that had come in a tiny pouch from a Japanese clothing chain and boosted heat conserving technology. My jeans were clammy around my legs. We're being glared at, I said, noticing the queue of people standing by the cash till. But I want to go on talking to you, he said, and his eyes were a sky you could fall into and float there. How about we go for a drink somewhere? It's Christmas Eve. All the pubs will be packed, and I've got all these bags. But I haven't found out enough about you. I want to hear more and about how you got that little scar. He reached out and touched my wrist, and a bolt of electricity shot up my arm through my veins. I shrugged without speaking in case I opened my mouth, and my thumping heart flip-flopped right out on the table. He kept his hand on my wrist like a cuff. My car is right here, in the underground car park. I don't live far. Will you come round? Just for a festive glass of wine. I don't normally invite strange women round, but you seem so familiar, like I've known you for forever. And anyway, it is Christmas. He examined my face, his attention like a warm flannel dabbing at the crumbs of uncertainty until they were picked off one by one. You can text someone if it makes you feel safer, to tell them where you're going. Oh, I'm sure that's not necessary, I said. if he gives you an out, even if he didn't like say that, you always, especially if you're going somewhere with a stranger. Okay, first, don't go anywhere with a stranger, you guys. But if you're going to, please text someone and let them know where you're going. Make sure you have the Find My Friend app on your phone. And make sure it has plenty of juice before you go somewhere. And, oh my gosh, okay. A woman's laugh whooshed past my ear like a frisbee, leaving the air vibrating. I tuned it out. What on earth was I thinking? What would possess an educated young woman, well-versed in the perils of stranger danger, a young woman with a long-term boyfriend, to get in a car with a man she'd only just met? Yes! What? And if you have to ask, you're probably too clear-headed, too normal, not lonely enough to understand. Well, that's the thing. We're not in her shoes, but also this is fiction. We're hoping that no matter how lonely a woman is out there, know how muddled her mind is, that she's not silly enough to make a decision like that. I didn't think he was going to be my boyfriend, and this was going to be the start of a beautiful romance. I knew men like him didn't fall in love with women like me. What I was after was an experience, a memory I could store in the tissue paper and take out every now and then in years to come when no one was around. The day Travis and I would go to my parents' house for Christmas dinner. His own parents usually spend the winter months at their house in Florida, so we tend to go to my family unless Travis is working, which, as a junior doctor, isn't unusual. My brothers would also come for lunch, bringing their efficient, multitasking wives and their Renaissance children, whose timetables are bursting with ballet and gym and Kumon mass. James and Jonathan would both separately give me the quizzical look they've been giving me since childhood, the look that says, "Who are you and where did you come from? Why does she have to be so weird?" they would ask my parents when we were growing up, as if weirdness was an eccentric jacket I'd perversively chosen to wear. And that's how it happened. I pulled on my parka with the fur around my hood and gathered up my bags, though he insisted on carrying the one with the walk, and I followed him out of the shop, much as he must have followed me in. I suppressed my qualms and shut out my mother's voice in my head asking what I thought I was doing. I focused on his broad shoulders and the navy blue wool coat with velvet lapels and his brown hair curling slightly over the collar. It was the 24th of December. I'd spent all year trapped inside myself with only me for company. I wanted a break. I wanted to be someone else for a bit with someone else's life. You're a long time dead, I told myself. Funny, that thought isn't so comforting now. Wow, so that is chapter 1. So there we go. That is the first chapter of Dying for Christmas. Let's break it down. I did notice that she repeatedly talked about his eyes and the physical description of him. The blue eyes, that was repeated twice. And then blue eye, like eyes so blue like a sky you could fall into. Also talked about his curly hair twice. So we have a very good physical description of them, slightly good physical description of her. Creepy that not only did he follow her outside the stores, in the stores, now he's asking to sit at her same table. They're exchanging pretty private information, like right off the bat, like about their families and stuff like that. And then he invites her for a drink back to his place and she goes. She's definitely not thinking clearly. Also, if she's not happy with Travis, she needs to just leave him. So obviously we're going to have a character making not great choices. And for that reason, things are going to happen to her that she's probably not wanting to happen. However, in the back of my mind, I'm always thinking about that Jessica has a secret of her own, a secret that may just mean she has a chance to make it out alive. That's always in the back of my head, like what is her secret and how is it going to keep her alive? So maybe she's playing into his trick on purpose. I don't know. But yes, so let me know if you guys are interested in Dying for Christmas. I know I was like stumbling over my words some and stuff like that. I haven't had to read a chapter out loud in a very long time, so please forgive me for my stumbles. But I hope you enjoyed this breakfast and books edition of the I'll Sleep When I'm Dead book club December pick. Don't forget, check the description box for all of the relevant information. And yeah, that's all for today's video. So let me know if you enjoyed this video, if you would like me to make this into a series on my channel where I eat breakfast and we talk about books in some way. But I hope you guys are having a lovely day or night. I'm gonna get my day started with some Animal Crossing, and I'll see you guys again in another video very soon. Bye guys.